guys, if you don't know me, my name is Brittany Rose, and this is my third year participating in the Positively Unstoppable Challenge. So I just want to talk about kind of where I was last year and what my plan is for this year. So I guess I'm going to go even farther back than last year. So in 2022 was my first Positively Unstoppable Challenge, and that year I did amazingly well. I lost a lot of weight. I don't know the exact number at this point in time, but I got down under 200 pounds for the first time in my life. I got really strong. I was just really healthy in so many ways. I met an amazing group of people. I met my partner, Jonathan. So like everything was just really aligned for me in 2022. It was an amazing year. So in 2023, immediately in January, I move from New York to Virginia to be with Jonathan and start a really difficult job as a hospice social worker. And I struggled all last year. And looking back now, in the beginning of the year, I wasn't struggling as bad as I thought I was at the time. My weight loss had slowed down significantly. I was working super hard and the weight just wasn't coming off at the same rate as it was before. But it wasn't like I did have like weeks where I wouldn't lose anything at all, but I was either like maintaining or just like losing just a very little bit. And that was super frustrating for me. Like I had this goal in my mind, this number goal of I was going to get down to 150 pounds. I was going to lose half my weight because when I started my journey in 2021, I weighed 300 pounds. And so I was like, I'm going to lose half my body weight and that's my goal. And it wasn't happening. And I did crazy things. I did 75 hard. I did Whole30 for 75 days. I got to a point where I became food anxious. And so I was very restrictive with what I ate. I mean, Whole30 is pretty restrictive to begin with. But like I said, I was like anxious about eating. So I had pendulum swung from complete binge eating disorder and just eating everything in sight to very, very restrictive eating. Not to the point where I wasn't eating, but it was just not enough calories, not enough, like it just wasn't a good place. And I can tell you where I went wrong last year. And where I went wrong was getting frustrated by the scale, by focusing so much on the number that I wasn't seeing the non-scale victories. I wasn't giving myself credit for how hard I was working, or that I was healthier, that I was more flexible, that I was stronger. I wasn't giving myself credit for any of those things. It was literally just a number. And I came back from the summit last year and I gained 14 pounds. And that gutted me because, I mean, it was 4 days of just nonstop working out. And yes, I had to eat out because we were not at home. And I gained 14 pounds. And everyone's like, it's going to come off. It's going to come off. It didn't come off. So somewhere along the way, I never gave up, but I didn't try as hard. And I just allowed things to come back into my diet that really aren't great for me. And not all the time either. So this is what's been very frustrating for me, is that I would say my nutrition for all of last year, like if we're looking at when I kind of like stopped doing the Whole30 thing, I was still 80% on plan, but I'd let myself eat some cheese. I would let myself eat some gluten. Every couple of weeks we'd have like a sweet treat. And then a lot of the times I was trying to do the things that Jonathan was doing that just don't work for me. He eats keto, which is cheese and red meat, and he does intermittent fasting. Those things work really well for him. Intermittent fasting does not work for me. It puts my body into stress, and so it just holds on to everything. I can't eat cheese. I can't eat dairy. I can't just eat meat. I really need to be eating lean proteins. I really need to be eating lots more fruits and vegetables. That's what works for me. So another thing that I've learned about myself is that I don't just eat when I'm sad. So in the beginning part of the last year, I was more depressed because of the job that I was working that was just crushing my soul. But after I left that job, I was pretty darn happy. And I was enjoying life, and we were going on trips and adventures and eating out more. And again, Jonathan either maintained or he lost weight, doing the same exact things as me. And here I am, January 1st, 2024. And from after the summit to now, I gained 44 pounds. And that's with working out every single day. That is with 80% on point with nutrition. Yeah, 44 pounds. I'm not happy about that. It is upsetting. But I'm really trying not to completely destroy my mental health over it. I wasn't even going to weigh myself. I was going to weigh myself, but I was going to have Jonathan keep track of it. And I was going to look at it when I felt like I could be in a place to look at it, and whatever, I changed my mind and now I know what I weigh. So that being said, there's a lot that didn't work for me last year. But what I've discovered is this is so much more a mental thing for me than it is a physical thing for me. I've got exercising down, right? I'm not where I was at the end of 2022 for a couple of reasons. In September, I got very sick and really had to like slow down working out for an entire month. And during that illness, I still did DDPY every single day, but it was stretching or it was bed flexes. It was, those types of things. So October, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling better. I'm ready to get back at it. And then I got into a car accident. And that car accident, I hurt my back and I could not push I still, again, continued to exercise, but I had to do the back builder series. I did a lot of stretching. So I've lost a lot of strength in my body. And I gotta build that back up. So I'm trying to I wrote things out so I wouldn't just ramble, but here we are. I didn't print those things out, and so I'm just going to talk about it. So anyways, I've got exercising down. So for the last several weeks, Jonathan and I have been going to the gym at least 4 times a week. That's our goal, is 4 to 5 times a week. We're going to go to the gym. I do DDPY every single day. I go walking most days unless it's super cold and windy out, and then, sorry, not walking. So anyways, I'm feeling very confident about what I'm doing physically. The things that hurt me last year was my mental health, and stress is a huge trigger for me, not just to eat poorly, but I hold on to weight when I'm stressed out. And I think that was my problem for the beginning part of 2023, is I was just really stressed out. I had changed my entire life around. I was starting a whole new job. And I was just in this constant state of like fight or flight. And if you know anything about the human body, I just was filled with cortisol. And so my body would not release weight. So my focus is to continue doing what I'm doing physically, to hold myself more accountable when it comes to nutrition. So I'm going to be writing down everything that I'm eating. I'm not going to do the macro tracking because that messes me up too. Like, I start developing food anxiety about like, okay, like how do I do this macro nutritional puzzle where I have enough carbs but not too much carbs, and have enough protein but not too much fat. Like, I can't do it. I have tried several times throughout this journey, and it just creates stress and it just creates anxiety. But I do think there is a benefit in terms of me writing it down, because when I've done that before, it makes me think about my choices. It's not just an immediate, I'm going to the snack cupboard and I'm going to eat something. I have to think about it. Do I really want to put that on my log today? Even though probably, I'm going to submit it at the end, but I don't think anyone's going through it with a fine-tooth comb, but I know that I've written it down and that somebody could be seeing that. So that's kind of part of my accountability with food, is to just keep track of what I'm eating. So I'm going to keep track of what I'm eating. I'm going to continue to drink 100 ounces of water a day, continue with my gym plan and DDPY plan, walking plan, and then I'm going to really focus on my mental health. So to do that, there's a couple of things. I need to meditate daily. My mental health is much better when I'm meditating. And I need to work with parts of myself that are still unhealed. So I need to do a couple of things. I need to detach my worth from my weight. That is something that has been very on my mind lately. I felt like crap about myself when I weighed 300 pounds. I felt amazing when I was at 182. So good about myself, and my worth was better than it's ever been. And as I've continued to gain weight, I have not been feeling good about myself. I have been beating myself up. I have been avoiding the camera, which was a new thing after I'd lost, over 100 pounds. I was like, I wanted to take my picture all the time because I felt good about myself. I liked how I looked in pictures, and I'm avoiding the camera because I do not like how I look right now. So I want to feel as good about myself right now at 226 pounds as I did at 182 pounds. I want to know that I'm not a bad person because I made some unhealthy food choices, right? I'm still a good person. I am a kind person. I'm a hard worker. I have worked hard. I did work hard last year. I just made some choices that kind of brought me backwards a little bit. So that's one, is my worth is not dependent on my weight. The second thing is I need to heal my relationship with food. So my relationship with food is complicated. It is, there's many layers to it. So first, food is comfort to me. It is how I have made myself feel better. It is how I've celebrated. I don't think that this is uncommon for people or anything like that, but food is very comforting to me, and that is shameful. So I have kind of both sides of the coin there. So I want to get to a place where food is just to fuel my body. It is to keep me healthy, right? It is to give me energy. It is not how I cope with the stress of daily life. The other thing is that I want to change my views about talking about food in terms of value judgments of good and bad. That doesn't feel good for me. I don't want to say oh, I cheated and I ate garbage, or I ate bad food, right? There's no good or bad food. There's healthy food and there's less healthy food, I guess. So I want to really talk about my food choices as being on plan or not on plan. I don't want to judge myself. If I do have some cheese, that doesn't make me a bad person, right? It means that I wasn't necessarily completely prioritizing my health in that moment. And there's going to be some moments throughout life where I make the choice to eat something that isn't on plan, and that's okay, right? There's nothing wrong with me inherently if I choose to eat something not on plan. But I want to 90 to 99% of the time eat on plan, because it makes me feel better. I feel more energized. Something that's, I feel it's my dirty little secret, but so many people drink these. I love energy drinks. I love sugar-free Monsters. I can't drink those. the sodium alone just makes me retain weight, and it physically hurts my body to drink those, like my joints. Like I haven't had one today and I can already feel my hands feel better because I didn't drink that, which is just a weird thing. I'm not exactly sure what it's doing. Probably not really good things. But yeah, I need to stay away from energy drinks. I need to just drink water. And is that to say I'll never have another energy drink again? No. But 90 to 99% of the time, I want to just be drinking water and trying to break that caffeine addiction that I have. So yeah, I want to just change the way that I think about food, my language around food, and just have a much healthier relationship with what I eat, with my body, with accepting myself, with feeling good about who I am, regardless of what I look like, what that number is on the scale. Like, I will weigh myself throughout this challenge, and I probably will do measurements, but I really don't want that to be my metric. I get spun up in my head about numbers, and this is like going backwards to like school days of like determining my worth based on the grades I got in school. And this is exactly the same thing that I'm doing with weight, you know, and measurements and stuff like that. Is like, how worthy am I based on what the number shows up on the scale? I don't want that anymore. So I'm going to weigh myself just as, like, you know, I can show progress, but honestly, the progress I want to show is like, how do I feel in my body? How do my clothes fit? What is my strength looking like? You know, I'm having a hard time with push-ups, just regular old 3-second push-ups. So, you know, I want to show improvement of I can do more off of my knees than I am currently able to do right now. I want to show my progress with flexibility. My body's just been really tight lately, and I do stretch a lot, but it's an area where I need to improve. So those are the things I want to focus on, the non-scale victories. Again, I will be tracking my weight, but it's like once a month. I'm only going to weigh myself once a month, because that was another problem that I had last year. I was weighing myself until I completely stopped weighing myself. Which is when I reached 200 pounds, and I was like, F the scale, I'm never stepping on it again. But anyways, before that, I was weighing myself like every day, and that is such a bad idea. And I knew it wasn't good for me, but like I couldn't stop myself, which is, I don't even know what that's about. But so I know I've talked a lot, but here's my plan: is healthy mind will equal a healthy body, right? So I have to get my brain into a good place where I'm honoring myself, I'm listening to my body, I'm listening to what I need, I'm feeling worthy regardless of what's on that scale, and I just need to keep doing what I'm doing in terms of exercise, you know, and just keep pushing myself. I do have like a specific fitness goal for the gym, which is I want to increase my endurance to the point of I can do a 5K on the elliptical. I can't run. My knees aren't good enough. My ankles aren't good enough. It's just too much of an impact on my joints. But I can do the elliptical. So today I got up to 2 miles. I feel pretty good about that. So that's kind of like measuring my endurance, is my ability to do more time on the elliptical, more distance on the elliptical. And I don't really have specific goals in terms of like strength and flexibility, but I'm just going to prove it through videos of like, look, I can now do 5-second push-ups or even 10-second push-ups, where I couldn't do that before. And just, you can see my body being more flexible. So that is where I am at. If you have listened to this whole thing, thank you. You are wonderful. But I am going to be posting these on my YouTube channel as, you know, public. So if you want to follow my journey, subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I want to share this with other people, in terms of, one, accountability for myself, but two, I just want to share with people what I'm trying what's working for me, what's not working for me in terms of really healing my mental health and my my feelings of self-worth. You know, I think that being a therapist, I do have a lot of things I can share and offer, and it's like I know the work that I need to do, and so this is also going to keep me accountable that I have to do it. So thank you for listening, thank you for being here, and my plan is to put out videos every Monday, which I didn't say that before, but yeah, every Monday, because where I struggle the hardest is on the weekends. So I think if I have a Monday video coming out, that's going to help me with choices on the weekends, and just keep me on a good path, a healthy path, not a good path, a healthy path. All right, thanks guys. Let's make 2024 an amazing year. We can all conquer and crush our goals. I believe in you, and I am starting to believe in me too. Bang.